Impeaching the president you, the American people, elected. And tonight, with the help of media research, we put together what is a comprehensive timeline. It started just 2 days after Donald Trump shocked the world. We were one of the few that told you, yeah, it could happen, was elected. Take a look.
If he takes the risk of going to trial and he's convicted, that could be seen as an impeachable offense.
If Trump were caught on a video camera snorting cocaine in the White House, maybe with one of his children, there was at least a chance he'd be impeached.
If he's not a legitimately elected president in your mind, there are tools that Congress has.
I don't see how that wouldn't be an impeachable offense.
That tweet fits the Republican definition of an impeachable offense.
I will fight every day until he is impeached. Impeach 45. Impeach 45.
Grounds for impeachment.
It's an impeachable offense.
Perhaps impeachable offense.
Is impeachment the appropriate remedy?
Something through the Congress like impeachment.
All of that may be impeachable.
That's an impeachable offense.
Is that an impeachable offense?
Is that an impeachable offense to you?
He's much more vulnerable to impeachment.
A potential ingredient of impeachment.
Where do you see an impeachable offense?
It is grounds for impeachment.
Potentially criminal or even impeachable.
Grounds for impeachment, or does that not go far enough in your view?
Grounds for impeachment. This tweet alone may be an impeachable offense.
Let's talk about impeachment.
Impeachment is on the table.
Which impeachable offense?
Bullies don't win. And I said, baby, they don't. Because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach them.
So you see an impeachable set of offenses?
It's an impeachable offense.
If that's not impeachable, I don't know what is.
The president shall be removed from office on impeachment.
Is it impeachable?
100% is impeachable.
Very substantial evidence that the president is guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors.
Grounds for impeachment.
Tipping point, talk of impeachment reaches a fever pitch on Capitol Hill.
Hat tip to our friends at Media Research, helping us compile that montage. And when you think it couldn't get any worse, well, Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
Hey, what's going on, fam? So first, before I even start to talk about why I use that clip, let me put out a disclaimer. I know that Sean Hannity is a white supremacist. I know that Fox News is a racist network. I'm not endorsing Sean Hannity or Fox News or Republicans in general or Donald Trump. I just wanted to get that out the way. But now let me talk about why I use that clip. Because that clip is actually, even though the source is, not I would say the world's most reliable source to get your information. That clip, I wanted to use it because it was entertaining, and the clip was very telling, and that's really why I wanted to use it. It was very, very telling, because not only did it show how instead of discovering the impeachable offense and then deciding to impeach, they first decided to impeach and then decided afterwards they were going to discover the impeachable offense. But it also shows the level of brainwashing the media tries to engage in, and it shows the benign neglect and how Democrats practice it, how Democrats send subliminal messages to black people that they are fighting for us, when in reality they're actually working against us, the Democrats especially. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, first of all, let me say this. Everybody, whether they're white, black, or in between, whether they support Trump or are against him. Everybody knows Trump is a white supremacist. Trump is as open a white supremacist as you will get outside of just being a straight up Klansman. Trump is as open a racist you'll get without admitting that you're a racist, basically. He's as pretty much openly racist as you can be without confessing that you're a racist yourself. Without saying I'm a racist, that's as openly racist you can be. Everybody knows it, whether they'll admit to it or not. They know that Trump is this. And they know that black people know that Trump is a racist, especially. And again, this is whether black people are pretending that they understand that Trump is a racist or pretending that they don't understand that Trump is a racist. At this point, they know. Maybe at certain earlier points, some people really didn't know. Some black people genuinely didn't know Trump was a racist. But at this point, in 2019, everybody knows Trump is a racist. And because of that fact, what the Democrats, because it's already their job to pretend to be our friends, what they have done is they've taken the fact that Trump is such an open racist, or as openly racist you'll get without being without saying that you're a racist, is they've decided, hey, we're going to subliminally communicate to black people that we're still on their side, and to not address the fact that this country has an infestation of racism because there's so many white people who do support Trump. What we're going to do is we're going to hyper focus on Trump. That way, we're not going to talk about his supporters and all the fact that this country is flooded with white supremacists. We're not going to talk about that because we don't want black people to actually start to see white supremacy and racism for what it really is and how widespread it really is. We're going to hyper focus on Trump. We're going to turn him into what we've turned racism into in general, which is this thing that only happens in backwoods hillbilly trailer parks with toothless individuals. We're going to make Trump that basically by insulting his intelligence and making him to be this big blubbering idiot, which he is kind of an idiot. I will admit that he is kind of an idiot. But we're going to hyper focus and hyper make him a blubbering idiot. And then we're going to fight against him all day, every day. And that's our way of low-key communicating that we're fighting for you, black people, because we're protecting you from the big bad racist that is Trump. Even though we're not going to address all the people who elected Trump, all the people who have the same mindset as Trump, we're just gonna attack Trump all day, every day, and that'll be a proxy for all his supporters. And once we get Trump out, and then we'll make all these insinuations that nobody was racist until Trump came around and he made people racist, and we'll do all these things to make it seem like Trump is the God racist who makes other people racist. And until Trump came around, racism was pretty much gone. And just basically continuing the whole narrative that after the 1960s, after the civil rights movement, racism died and went away pretty much for the most part. And it didn't come back until Trump came around, and then he made everybody racist again, because I don't know, he's somehow the omni-racist or something. And it's offensive to us as black people because it's insulting to our intelligence. We know that racism has been around for all this time. That's why we're not terrified by this boogeyman Trump talk, that if we don't vote for Democrats, we're going to get Trump again. We've been dealing with Trump for 400 years, and what white people don't want more black people is to realize that we've been dealing with Trump for 400 years. So they want to make Trump this just outside the box unique phenomenon that came out of nowhere, even though he's what he is he's the manifestation of what's been in this country all along. That's what they don't want to admit. So they're going to make him this random evil this random evil thing that came out of nowhere, came out of left field, that nobody in our society was like Trump until he emerged from hell and became the Hitler of America. This over the top stuff that totally disconnects Trump from what our country is in its essence as a whole, and make him into this over-the-top caricature that will make black people think we're fighting for them by going after him all day because he's the human embodiment of racism and he came out of nowhere and nobody else is really racist but Trump, and anybody who is racist is because they were basically influenced by Trump. which I will say a lot of black people have been checking that narrative, but still, a lot of white people will still try it. Some white people know better now than to try that narrative that Trump invented racism because they've already been checked by black people. But some white people still think they can get away with it, mostly probably because they're not around black people, or the black people they're around are very stupid, and they think that they can still get away with that. Racism was pretty much gone until Trump came around, type of narrative or type of talk. And that's really what I want to talk about in that clip, or showing that clip, is because, first of all, you see people like Maxine Waters and all these other Democrats who are talking so big and bold and bad about impeachment. You're talking, right now they're pretending that it's just because of this Ukrainian phone call that they're trying to impeach him. But that video, what it shows is that they've been trying to impeach him nonstop well before this Ukrainian phone call. So then it puts into question, it's like the boy who cried wolf. Even the one time with the boy who cried wolf story, as you all know, the one time that he was telling the truth that there was a wolf, nobody believed him. So it's like with the same thing with the Democrats. Even if this is the one time that you're actually truthful and accurate and right about the fact that Trump should be impeached, even if this is the one time that you're actually telling the truth, you've become the party who cried wolf, because ever since 2016, the Democrats, through the media that they're obviously working with, have been in cahoots to basically brainwash people into the fact that Trump should be impeached by repeating it over and over and over and over and over ever since the day he won the presidency. Because instead of facing the fact that Hillary Clinton failed, you guys could not coronate her as you thought you did. Is you thought you could basically announce she was the president a year before the election, that she was going to win. There was no way Trump was going to win. And then when it failed, because first of all, enough black people woke up enough to disconnect from the Democrat Party, which is what you don't want to admit, which is why we became Russian agents, or we were fooled by Russians, because no way black people thought for themselves and disengaged from Hillary. No, we had to be influenced by the Russians. So we got tricked by the Russians, and then you had to further perpetuate that by saying that Trump worked with the Russians. So we got tricked by Trump and the Russians into not voting for Hillary. So the evil Hitler, who came out of nowhere because nobody else was like Trump. Trump is not just another white racist among many that exist in our country. No, he's just a standalone racist that came out of nowhere, and all these non-racists voted for him because they were, I don't know, economically disenfranchised, even though they're way better off than black people. Economic anxiety is what they said, or whatever. And so instead of facing the fact that we failed to brainwash people, or enough people, because we did brainwash a lot of people, but we failed to brainwash enough people into voting for Hillary. We failed to brainwash enough people into being convinced that her election was inevitable. Instead of facing that fact, we're going to come up with this whole Russia hoax, so that first of all, we cannot admit that this country is full of racists, because we're going to say he didn't really win, or he won by tricking everybody into being a white supremacist. And he tricked the black people into thinking that the Democrats aren't helping them. He did this big grand conspiracy with Russia, and that's why we lost the election. And that's what they've been doing. And so, and everything's because we're gonna delegitimize him. Now we're gonna repeat impeachment over. So basically, we're gonna do this thing where we're doing it backwards. First, we decided to impeach, and then we discover the impeachable offense. No, it's not the way it's supposed to go, where you discover the impeachable offense and then seek to impeach. No, we're going to seek to impeach and then find out the impeachable offense. That's why we're going to babble all this stuff about tweets that were impeachable offenses, and we're just going to repeat it over and over and over and over again, because we are arrogant enough to think that we can just brainwash people into thinking that Trump should be impeached. And I know at this point I'm kind of sounding like a Trump supporter, and I will admit at this point I'm so offended by the Democrats that I'm thinking about voting for Trump just to make sure that the Democrats don't win. That's how dangerous I think the Democrats winning presidency again could become for black people, especially given how deranged they show that they'll be about facing how deranged they are in their determination to not face the facts of their own failures. I'm almost scared to let them in office, because they will not show any culpability for them being wrong. And they will not face up to the fact that we have a racism problem in this country, and that's where Trump came from. The same Democrats who are so scared to alienate white people and Republicans when it comes to giving black people things like reparations. They're so scared to alienate these people. They have no problem alienating them by openly conducting an impeachment witch hunt on a Republican president. They're not afraid to alienate Republicans in that way. Only by helping black people. That's the only time they're afraid to alienate working class or swing voters and all this stuff. That's the only time they're afraid to alienate swing voters. Is when it's time to help black people, not when it's time to decide that a president should be impeached before you even have the impeachable offense. As that clip shows, they decided that he should have been impeached 2 years before this phone call, but now they want to act like it totally discredits you when you try to say that this phone call is impeachment worthy, because whether it's impeachment worthy or not, you've shown that your goal was impeachment, whether he actually did something worth impeachment or not, which discredits you when you say he should be impeached. Whether he should actually be impeached at the time you say he should, at this last time. It's the classic boy who cried wolf story. In this case, the Democrats, the donkey who cried wolf. That's what you've become, Democrats. And it's showing Octi magazine up here so big and bold and bad. Democrats cursing, acting like they from the hood, which is another offensive, pandering dog whistle to black people. Talking about let's get this MFer out of office. All this theatrics. But you ain't got no theatrics for all these black people who get killed, and then the killers, race soldiers pretending to be cops, get off. You don't got no thunder and rage about that. You don't have no thunder and rage about the fact that we're treating the opioid crisis like a health crisis, but we treated cocaine and we continue to treat black people with the criminal contempt. When black people are on drugs, but white people, we treat it like it's this health crisis. You ain't got no highfalutin rage about that. You ain't got no highfalutin rage about mass incarceration. You ain't got no highfalutin rage, no theatrical rage about the wealth gap. None of that. But you got all this theatrical rage about Trump because you were trying to make him into a character. You're going to brainwash everybody into, hey, we all know he's a racist, so watch us just go after the racist. We Democrats, we're the Avengers, and Trump is Thanos. So watch this movie about us going after Trump all day. This political theater, even though we're not going to impeach him. That's why we drug out this Mueller crap for 2 years. And then we're probably, we know that Trump's not going to be impeached. We're going to fake impeach him, just like the Republicans fake impeached Bill Clinton back in the day. And then the other party will vote to protect their president, just like the Democrats voted to protect Clinton. The Republicans will vote to protect Trump. He won't get impeached. But hey, we went through this whole theatrics, so hey, we're in your corner because we went through 3 years of theatrics of getting him out of office because he's the big bad racist who we have to expel immediately. He's so unethical and we know he's bad and we just have to prove it because he's a racist. So we just got to prove he's bad. And this is our way of not actually addressing anything for black people and our other constituents. But this is our way of just saying, hey, Trump is bad, so we're going to spend our entire damn time having a big-ass theater about him being out of office. And it's offensive to us. And I don't want to drag this video on it any longer, fam. I just wanted to get my thoughts out and feelings out about that. And just say what it is, because that's what it is. It's offensive at this point. And I'm not saying go vote for Trump. I'm definitely still no vote if we're not going to get a Democrat candidate or a left-wing candidate that's going to actually endorse reparations. If we're not going to get that, I'm no vote. But at this point, I'm almost vote for Trump just to make sure that the Democrats don't win. Because the Democrats have shown so much hatred towards us via benign neglect. All of this Trump hyper-focus, that's showing hatred towards us because it's showing how determined you are to not focus on things like reparations and our black agenda and ending mass incarceration and reversing some of these drug laws since we're going to treat the opioid crisis like a health crisis, also reversing some of these illegal drug convictions that happened from the war on drugs that black people got when we were on drugs. Or treat the opioid crisis just like you treat cocaine and crack and throw these motherfuckers in jail. It's not a health crisis. Imprison these motherfuckers. Give them 25-year and life sentences for selling opioids. Either do that or make up for the way you treated black people, among many other things that they could be doing for especially us as ADOS, Foundational Black Americans. But no, instead, they rather hyper-focus on Trump, holler and scream about Trump all day long, and get nothing done for us. And it's offensive at this point. So, anyway, like, share, subscribe. Peace.